just copy it and then I will send it through. Here we go. Oops, it helps if I press the right button. There we go. So you should be able to see that one in Zoom.
Sure. Right.
Give me 1 second. I just realized that my coconut water is in the other room, so I'll quickly go and get that one while you're signing in, and then we can get started. Let me know if there's any issues when I get back, but I'll quickly go and get my coconut water so I can stay hydrated.
Sure.
There we go. Okay, did you manage to get in?
Yeah.
Perfect. We'll just check. No, nobody else sign in the meantime. So I'll create a new room and then we can go to that room. Call it room 1. And then, yes, I can answer lots of questions. I'll take some notes on some of the things that you're doing throughout the game. And then we'll see how we go. I might actually get a piece of paper as well so I can write some notes. There we go.
Can you see me?
I can see you, yes.
So this will probably be good if for anyone that is a beginner, because maybe we can start by going through all of the sections.
Yes. And then you can ask any questions you have around them.
Sorry?
And then you can ask any questions you have around them, and they might be the same questions that other people have.
Sure. Like looking at the box on the left, yes, under the playboard, which is the cash flow statement. Is this yours or is it mine? So
you will have yours, and the screen sharing, you will see mine. So if you see 1,800, 9,000, 10,800, and cash flow 2,901, that one should be mine. If you see different numbers, then that one is probably yours.
Yeah, I see different numbers, but I think it's your turn.
Yes, it is my turn. But the cash flow statement, you should be able to still see your own. You shouldn't be able to see mine if you're on your screen, unless you are checking through Zoom, because I'm screen sharing, so you can also see my screen at the same time.
No, my Zoom goes a little small. So just on my screen, my cash flow statement. So I'll just tell you what I understand of that. So my earned income is my wages or my salary.
Yes.
My passive income, which I have of $125, it means that I probably have some property somewhere or anything that is generating income of $125 a month.
Very good summary so far, correct?
Total income is, if we add the earned income plus the passive income, that makes $13,325.
Yes.
And my total expenses is what I usually spend in a month, which is $10,547.13, which leaves me with $2,777.87. It's that I could save.
Yes.
I probably don't save it.
So real life could be different to the game, but in the game you still have that amount left, which is your cash flow or your residual income after you've paid off your expenses.
But can I just say, I mean, I have done a few, and I know that the ANZ has these money, I don't know what it's called, but there's a program where you do some modules for, money and stuff. Is there a actual easy expenses document or app that you can use to actually track your expenses?
So most banks do it now. So I think the Commonwealth Bank has, as a part of its app, that you can see what your income was and expenses, and it will automatically split it into different categories. So into transportation and groceries and different other things. So you can actually start to see it. There are some other apps. One of them is called, off the top of my head, I used to use it, but there was an error with my credit card. So it was brilliant. I loved it a lot, but it kept showing my credit card as negative when it was supposed to be positive. And so it wasn't showing the correct data. I still have it on my phone. Let me have a quick look and I'll let you know what it is. If you don't have a credit card, it should work properly because it then has it with the correct thing. And I think it was called Pockets.
But I was just thinking of something more in the lines of, like, I kind of want to know what my expenses are on a monthly basis. Like, you know what I mean? Not necessarily, like, I know what you're saying because I'm with Westpac and St. George, and it breaks it down, but I don't feel that that's like an accurate, because, you know, some stuff, like I have an account specific for direct debits.
Yes.
And I have an account because I know that if anything happens, if I lose the car or if there's a transaction and they have to close that, then, you know, I have a different account that I use just for the withdrawal and my actual expenses. Yes. So I'm not tied up with having to go to the bank or waiting the 7 days and then I have another account that I can use. So you know what I mean? So I split that. So it doesn't give you so it will show that I made a deposit of $350 and that could have been to pay for a bill, but it's not going to be showing on my statement as an actual bill. It's just going to be like, you know, I pay someone.
Yes. In the meantime, Janelle has also joined us, so she will be in here in just a second. So I found it in the meantime. I'm not sure if I heard the last little things that you asked, but I have it's not called Pocket, it's called Wallet.
What?
And I probably won't be able to show you unless I remove my background, because my phone will just disappear in the background. Yep, can't show that.
So this app is for tracking down your expenses?
So yes, so it is a budget planner. So you can budget, and then you can also put all of your receipts in. So you take a photo of the receipt, it will automatically ask you where you want to allocate it. So if it's groceries, if it's something else, it will automatically allow you to decide what category it falls under. So it will give you at the end of the month, it will give you...
I had Simone on the other line the other day, and I said to Beck, I had someone else. So I said, just letting you know that people are questioning. Oops, I hope I'm muted.
No, you're not.
Now you are, yes. We'll see you in just a second then, Janelle. All good. Take your time. So what Wallet will do is it will allow you to budget, and then it can show you when you are going over your budget or when you are within your budget. And it will also allow you to track your expenses, so you can see the graphs and the reports at the end of the month, and you can see exactly what you've spent and exactly how much you've earned. And you can see what you've spent it on. There's a lot of very good things inside it to be able to track things at the end of the month, or whenever you want to, during the week, end of the week, anytime you like.
Okay, cool. So, well, I'm not starting very well because, yeah. So I'm not starting very well because in the bottom part on my cash and checking account and in the minus 161.93.
In the game, yes.
Yeah, in the game.
Yes. So you might have a little bit of minus cash, but I think you were downsized at one point. So since you were downsized, you might need to. You're probably not right now, but I think you were recently downsized just before you started.
Is this a continuation from last time, or I'm starting fresh?
So up to you. Since Janelle is joining us, we can all start fresh. Or if you'd like to continue and if you'd like to see if you can finish that game, you're also most welcome to do that.
Okay.
Whichever you prefer. I'm probably going to start from scratch again, more so that I can demonstrate to Janelle what it looks like to start from scratch. So let us know, Janelle, when you have finished your call, because I think you're on a call, and then we will show you how to get in, and we look forward to playing along with you. In the meantime, Tanya, we can get started, and then I'll show Janelle how to select a profession and get started. But we'll just both continue in the meantime. So I'll select the card.
I will start again from scratch.
Yep. Okay, then we can all start from scratch. Welcome, Janelle.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So sorry. I was trying to get someone off there.
Life happens. It's all good.
Life happens. Yes, exactly. Lovely to meet everyone.
Yes, you too, Janelle. So you will not be able to see in the chat the link to the game. So let me put that in again for you. So that makes it a lot easier for you to actually be able to find it rather than looking for a link that is no longer in the chat. And then you should be able to see me sharing the screen. So I will very quickly log out and then I'll log back in. You'll be able to see what the front page looks like.
Yep.
And then obviously I already have access. So I'm at the top with my user ID and password. So I'll get you to fill in the bottom and then you can register and then you'll be able to join us inside. Let me know if there's any issues with that. And then once you're in, I will explain what you need to do next.
Perfect.
Okay, so you've reset your profession, Tanya?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what I am, though. I am a janitor.
Yes, if you go into profession, you can have a look and it will show you.
Yeah, I think I have the income that you had last time.
So we probably swapped professions then.
How much do you have?
I don't know yet because I'm going to change profession again.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if I've already increased my income by a certain amount, so we'll have to see. Going well there, Janelle? Everything okay?
Yep, I've just got to verify my email and we are in.
Perfect.
I'll get the password.
Yes. You need to do the whole I am not a robot thing.
Yeah.
As you're doing that, Janelle, we might actually do an introduction. So, Tanya, would you like to introduce yourself so that Janelle gets to know us all a little bit? And then we'll get Janelle to do one. I'll do one quickly. Mladen might be there, and Ethel is my VA. She's probably with the family having dinner because it's dinner time over in the Philippines. But I'll get everybody else to introduce themselves so that you can get to know each other a little bit.
Wow, good timing. I decided to have my dinner too. I don't know. I'm Tanya.
Hi, Tanya.
What do you want it? What kind of information did you want us to share?
Anything that you feel comfortable with. You can talk a little bit about how you discovered Cashflow, what kinds of things you're doing in life, what brought you to Cashflow.
Okay, so I am a counselor, and what brought me to Cashflow? I used to do Cashflow the old-fashioned way with Menno years ago, and I just recently started joining him with a more virtual version of it. So I'm kind of rusty. So I'm still at beginner stages, I guess.
Yes, but that's all good. Thank you for introducing yourself. And Janelle, I'd love to get to know you a little bit as well.
Okay, cool. Hi, everyone. I got into cash flow when I've always been interested in how to make money, actually quite obsessed with getting everything in order and wanting to make lots and lots of it. And I'm still waiting for that to happen. Then I got onto reading a lot of Robert Kiyosaki's information, which I think is just great. And we don't have that in our school education system. And, I know why. So I really want to learn all this. I want to master this and want to become, set all this up and create it so I'm set for retirement, a very early retirement, preferably, to go live there on this island, wherever I am.
Yes. It looks like you've joined me on the island.
Yeah.
Different part of the island. That's amazing. So thank you very much for introducing yourself as well, Janelle. And cool. I am looking forward to sharing some really amazing things to assist you with that, because the whole purpose of what we're doing is to play, to get the game, to make us think that we're doing it in real life, and then sharing and implementing strategies, not just playing, but also putting it into real life. And I've got a couple of things that I'm working on with regards to that. So I've got a mini course that I'm putting together that I'm actually running for 2 girls who also, whose mum also used to come to Cashflow. So that's been very exciting. So it's like a investing 101 mini course on how to get the right mindset and get started and take the first steps, very small baby steps. And then we're also going to talk about how to improve if you're already investing. So we've got lots of really good things that we are looking forward to sharing with you all. So that's perfect that you said that that's what you want to do, because obviously that's why you're here. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come. Okay. So once you are in, Janelle.
I am, sorry. Yep, I'm in. I'm looking at it.
That's okay.
It's just a blank screen. Is that, well, not blank, but there's no numbers in it. So update taxes and save down the bottom. Is that right?
Yes. So you should see the rest that looks a little bit like mine. And then the first thing you would do is you would hit the profession button, or you might already have this page here.
Would she go to the room? Are you in room 1?
So not yet. First, you'll need to select the profession. Otherwise, that will not work.
Okay. Please click random, but to randomly select a profession. Yes.
So the game will randomly assign you a profession. However, we have also created it so you can put your real life numbers, but that's going to be more in the advanced versions. So this is okay for the beginners to start off with. It's very powerful to use your real life numbers, but first we want you to be able to understand the game and just play with some random professions before you start doing that. Because it would take a little bit more time to explain and get you into that. So I'm going to hit random as well so that we can get started. Once you're on this page here, I'll get you to go to the room button. And I just need to move all the faces across because you are blocking my view. And then I'm going to create room 1 again. And then we'll create that one, which is already there. So Tanya's still obviously in there. So we'll go to room 1 and join. And then once you've done that, you will see the play board that we can start playing from.
Oh, okay.
So let me know if you've been able to find your way in.
Here we go, room.
There's just the purple one under the coins on the top left.
Yep. I think I'm in.
You are. I can see you in. Yes. So just very quickly, I'll explain what everything is, because there's obviously a few buttons going on and a couple of things that you can see. So on the top left, you can see how much you have income and expenses and how much is left over, your cash flow. Your passive income will start at 0. The aim of the game is to get your passive income higher than your expenses. so that obviously you can tell your boss to get lost and you can live your own life on the island. The other thing that you'll see is in the middle, the select card and 5,000 greater than 6,000 and greater than 100,000 deal section. This is where you're able to select a card, and then the game will select the card for you, and you can make your decision on whether you would like to buy those or not. On the right, we have a couple of milestones that you might like to see if you can get a couple of those ticked. So whether you have a minimum of 7 real estate deals, whether all your ratios are within range, whether your passive income is greater than your expenses or twice your expenses. And there's a couple more down there. And then at the very bottom, you have an overview of everything that you own, your assets, your liabilities, your income, and your expenses. So as we go along, we'll talk about a couple of bookkeeping things, how it works, and what you can keep an eye on, and what a lot of these things mean. But technically speaking, you can have a look at that throughout the game and ask any questions that you have. So we won't go too deeply into it because the questions will probably come by themselves. It won't prevent you from playing. In these tabs here, there's just a little bit more information that you can use. So for example, the statements are going to be your balance sheet and your income statement. So your income and your expenses and everything that you own and everything that you owe to other people, just written out a little bit more. The cash ledger is where you'll see everything that happens with your cash. So you'll be able to see everything that you've spent and everything that has come in. And it's just a visual representation for you. Performance, we'll get to that a little bit later. And the scoreboard is a little bit of fun so you can see who is getting ahead and who has done some good deals throughout the game. And then we can go back to the playboard. We have a section which is the bank. And you can then deposit, withdraw, transfer, borrow, repay loans, and pay other players if you want to buy something from somebody else. Again, we'll look at that a little bit later. I'll show you what I'm doing when I am using those. And there are some reports as well. So you've got some bookkeeping reports and some financial statements. You can see the purchases that you've made. You can see what you've sold. You can see some statistics. And later on, hopefully we've played long enough that we have a year's worth of tax. And I can show you how the realistic taxes have also now been included in the online game. So Tanya is going to be playing first. She's going to hit the select card button. If the 5,000, 6,000, and 100,000 buttons turn purple, then you need to click on one of those. So the 5,000 button will get you a deal that costs less than $5,000. And if you hit the $6,000 button, it will give you something that costs more than $6,000. So just depending on how much money you have. I wouldn't worry about the 100,000 plus deal yet. They are much too big for the beginning of the game. And then if you like a deal, you can hit buy. You don't have to buy if you don't want to. If you think it's a good deal, you can. If you don't think it's a good deal, then you are free to pass on it or sell it to somebody else if you like to. If you want to sell and you think it's a good time to sell, you can do that. If you don't think it's good, then you don't have to. There are certain things that you do have to pay for, and I'll explain that if you get, for example, a doodad card, which is a miscellaneous random expense, or if it's a different kind of card, I will explain those as well. So feel free to ask any questions at any time. This is just a very quick overview just to get us started, and it should be very self-explanatory very soon. So what we might do is we'll get Tanya to get us started. And then, any questions you have, just let me know. But it should start to be self-explanatory quite soon. It's a lot, so I'm not expecting you to get it all immediately. So we'll answer any questions as we go.
Okay, so I already hit the card, and what I got is a condo for sale. It's a 2-bedroom and a 1-bedroom. So it's now the cost is sorry, I'm just on a different screen. Like, I don't have enough money to buy this. So if anyone is interested, I can sell it.
So I think I'm okay on this one for now. I appreciate that, but no, thank you.
Do you want to explain what's in there so Janelle like understand what we're looking at? Because at the beginning, I didn't know, like, you know what I mean?
No, all good. I was thinking that you might read the whole card, but that's okay. I will explain. So have you played the game before, Janelle?
No, I've been trying to look for the board games, but I can never get it. So no,
good.
I'm absolutely brand new. So yeah, I'm assuming it. To me, it's like, is it like Monopoly but different?
So it's a little bit like Monopoly on steroids. So it's a little bit more realistic. And this version that's online is a little bit more realistic even than the actual board game, because we want people to be able to understand the concepts a little bit more deeply. So I'll just go through the card. So it's an older 2-1 condo, so 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. And it's a young couple who want to buy a bigger house, probably have a family that's starting up. So they've probably got the wife pregnant. And they said that it's available soon. It may sell for between 45 to 65,000. The current cost is 55,000. In order to be able to secure the property, you have a down payment of 5,000, which we call a deposit. The loan is 50,000 at 3% for 25 years. The loan to value ratio is 90.91, which is how much you are putting in compared to the cost. And then the monthly income is 395. The expenses are 237. So the renters will pay you 395, and your expenses, your maintenance, your insurances, your other things are 237 per month, which leaves you 157. And that gives you a return of investment of 37.89, which means that you get almost 40% of your original down payment back within the first year. So if you hold that property for about 2.5 years, you'll be able to get your 5,000 back, and you'll be able to buy another property with a down payment of 5,000.
How do you know that it works in 2 years?
So 40%. So if we take 40% of 5,000, in 2 years, you get 80% back. So in about 2.5 years, you get your money back.
Okay. Yeah, understand.
What it's saying.
Yep.
So nobody wanted to buy that one. So we can move on. Did you have any other questions about that one, Janelle?
I'm just thinking, so if we're just playing and pretending, how do I know how much money I have in my bank because I'm a police officer? Is it 45,000 in?
So the amount of money that you have, if you can see my screen right now, just at the bottom in the assets, liabilities, income and expenses section, you'll have your checking account. I have 4 accounts because I've got the advanced version. But you should have your checking account, and it will tell you how much cash you have right now.
Right.
And so you would base your decision on which card to take based on how much cash you have, or if you want to be a little bit more adventurous, if you dare to go a little bit above and beyond. So that's where you can see how much cash you have. And then, yes, we'll answer any further questions as we're going.
Okay.
So I will select the card, and then we'll see what comes up for you. And if you have any questions, we'll answer that one. I'm going to go for a smaller deal because I only have about 1,400, 1,550. So I will go for a small deal. And so I get a payday. So the game will automatically pay you once a month. And I find a great deal. So I find an older 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. It's repossessed by the government agency. It's ready to go with government financing and a tenant. And it says, borrow from the bank if you must, but buy this. So it's obviously a very good deal. I don't have the full $2,000 down payment, but it says borrow if you must. So I'm thinking of doing it. I did actually get my payday, so I might have 2,000 altogether, which I have. So that's very good. So I'm going to buy this one. First, I'm going to have to transfer some money because I have it in separate accounts. So I only have 1,600, almost 1,700 on one account. So I'm going to take my investing account and I'm going to transfer some of that to my checking account. Might transfer 200 of that one so that I have enough money on my main account so that when I hit buy, I have my down payment of 2,000. I still didn't transfer enough. That's okay. I'll transfer a little bit more. Oops, and it helps if I do it from the right account. Investing account, checking account. We'll send another 300. Hopefully there'll be another good deal around the corner. Okay. We'll pretend that I did that on purpose for demonstration purposes, and then I can have a look at the deal again. Don't worry about the performance indicators for now. We'll get to that a little bit later, and then I can buy that one because now I have enough cash. And so I now own that one. So at the very bottom of my page, and I'll just move, I don't know if you can see the faces of everybody there, but you can see that I now own that house. It's on my asset list, and I can see what the value is, how much my loan was, how much I invested, how much of my own money I put in, and what the interest rate is and for how many years, what the loan to value ratio is, so how much I've actually borrowed for it. And then I can see what the income and expenses are. I can see how much I have left over. And I can also see the return on investment. So this one's 131%, which means I get over 2,000 back in the year. And how long I've owned it. So we also have capital gains tax in this version of the game. The board game doesn't have capital gains tax, but this one does it the real way. So if I own it for more than 12 months, I pay less tax. If I own it for less than 12 months, I will pay a little bit more in tax. The government wants to incentivize us to keep our property for a little bit longer and not just flip them for profit. All of that makes sense?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I think you're a very fast learner, so all good.
I've been studying this for a while. I told you I was a bit obsessed with it. So
yes. Perfect. Okay, then I'm going to say done, and then we pass on to Tanya. I think, Janelle, you might need to log back in. The system will log you out if you haven't used the system for long enough. So because I've been talking,
okay.
It's probably, I think Tanya also dropped out at one point. So that's just a part of the game.
I'm playing the Cashflow game. Hang on.
And then Tanya, it's your turn. I'm thinking you might.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, it did log me out, and I did try to.
I think it's asking you to choose the 5,000 or 6,000 deal card.
It's just that I can't find it now. Because I was looking at your screen. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Because when you're explaining, I don't see it.
When I'm explaining, you're looking at my screen. That makes sense.
I'm looking at your screen. Yeah, otherwise, yeah. All right. So I got a stock for the OK For You Drag Co. Today's price, market panic caused a crash in share price of this long-time maker of medicines. So anyone can buy. And today's $1. And the trading range can go from $5 to $40.
Yes.
So I am definitely going to buy.
I am also thinking of buying some. So Janelle, if you'd like to, you're also able to buy some of those.
Okay. Okay For You drug company. Okay.
It's almost in the name, isn't it? OK For You drug company.
That's funny.
It's not always okay though, but it's definitely okay today by the looks of it.
Yeah. And sorry, whereabouts is that deal in my game? Because I've got the select card.
So let me just buy mine and then I'll have a look.
Okay.
So you should still be able to see the buy button is purple on your screen.
No. Oh, hang on. Let me refresh.
You might not be in our. Yeah, that's because you haven't come back into.
I've got to come back into the room. Sorry.
So the game has a play together mode, and it also has a play by yourself mode. So you do need to be in the room to be able to see what we are up to. So we'll just hold the card for you for a second, so that if you'd like to buy some of those, you can.
Today's price, so it's $1.
Yes, correct. And it trades from 5 to 40. So the trading range is what in real life is called the 52-week trading range. So it usually sits between 5 and 40, so it's a little bit lower. So hopefully it doesn't go bankrupt. But since this is the beginner's version of the game, this stock doesn't actually go bankrupt. This is as low.
So sorry, if it goes bankrupt, that's it. I lost my $1,000.
If you bought $1,000 worth and it went bankrupt in real life, you would lose your $1,000. Yes. However, in real life, what can happen, this is a little bit more advanced. So there's something called value investing, where a company actually has a tangible value. So, for example, it has an office space and it has tables and it has chairs and it has different other things. And what happens is that those things have value. So let's say that the stock goes to zero, but you can still sell the tables and chairs and everything else, and you might be able to, let's say, make $50,000. Then that gets shared among the shareholders. So some of them could still get something back. In the very big companies, though, if you look at your BHPs and your blue chip stocks, the very large ones, if that company were to go bankrupt, you have priority shareholders and non-priority shareholders, which are your mum and dad shareholders. So the priority shareholders would get something back and everybody else wouldn't.
But you declare that as a loss for your taxes, right?
And then that would definitely be a loss for your taxes, yes.
I mean, not that you get, but at least you don't have to.
Let's see if we can make sure that we don't buy any that go bankrupt, though. That would probably be
some taxation price.
Consolation price. Save some money on your taxes. Let's win the main prize, no consolation prizes.
Let me know, Janelle, because once I hit done, you won't be able to do the purchase.
Okay. I've already done, I've already bought, I think, 100.
Perfect.
Then,
yeah. And then
so you can buy the rest. I think I've done that. I'm not sure. I'm still navigating it. So sorry for being slow.
No, all good.
All right. It was a good day for you to join.
Yeah, probably learning, and there's not that many people. The pressure.
Yeah, because the other day the other ones were more advanced, so I was the slower one.
There is no slow or fast. There is everybody learning together. Okay, then when you are ready,
it's your turn.
Hit the 5,000 or 6,000 button. Since you've just started, I would probably say the 5,000 button, because I doubt you'd have a lot of money in your bank account.
Yeah.
And so this is charity, 10% of total income. It is up to you whether you feel that you are charitable and whether you feel that you have enough money to be able to do the charity. So this one you can do pay, or you can skip it and click done. It's up to you which one you would prefer.
Okay, I'll see what it does.
Tell us the benefits about the charity. Is that only that you can claim on tax?
So in real life, you can claim charity on tax. In the game, we don't have a benefit at the moment, because on the board game, you have the benefit of being able to roll 1 or 2 dice, which means that you can go around the board a little bit quicker. But in this case, we don't have it linked to anything just yet. And I'm taking notes as we play. And we'll reevaluate that and see what we can do around that one.
Or at least just have something explaining the pros and cons of, if you wanted to, besides helping something, how do you choose a charity? You know what I mean? You want to make sure that it goes to the right cause.
Ah, that's interesting, because I was going to ask questions around what kind of topics you'd like me to discuss, because I'm doing a YouTube series at the moment on credit cards and whether you should get a credit card or not, and why the experts can't agree. And I want to make a lot more videos. So we'll talk about charity and how to choose the right charity and what it means and what the advantages and disadvantages are. So that's perfect. So I appreciate you asking that question so that I can create more content.
It's all right. And as there's nothing in there, like, you know what I mean? It just says 10% of total charity. You could add just as so if you're not giving anything to the game, but just like a fact about it, like, some information about it.
Yes, we can talk about how it has advantages in real life as opposed to in the game. We can talk about how to pick the right charity, whether it's advantageous or not, and what the tax implications are, for example. So yes, I appreciate that. So please do not feel shy about asking questions. I love questions, and usually it gives me some really good things that I can make videos about so that everybody can learn from the questions that you've asked.
You have to invite me to those videos though, so I know the answer.
I will link that, or I'll get Ethel to send you the links to those later on, so that you can receive those and have a look, because it would also support and help to help my channel, because the more likes and views you get in the first 24 hours, the more you can suggest it to other people. So I would very much appreciate if you could have a watch and hit like and subscribe, and then more people will see it, which means that it gets more traction.
Sure. All right, so if you're done, you can press the done button.
So just 2 above the pay button, you'll see the done button.
Yeah, but it's grayed out on me.
That is...
So I can't... Yeah.
Mladen, are you there by any chance? So Mladen is our resident creator. He is our resident developer. He's the one that developed the game. So I might need to send him a message, and then he can...
Do you want me to do a... Oh, you can see, right? Can you see it?
Can't see your screen, but what you might be able to do, would you be able to hit the refresh button on the top right? There's a purple button called refresh. That might get us out of trouble before I have to get Mladen involved. I do have some IT knowledge. I can push a couple of buttons. But when it comes to the really challenging things, that's definitely Mladen.
Press exit.
So the done is still...
Yeah, I'm having...
Let me send him a quick message.
It's got please escape or double click to exit full screen. So I've done that. Okay, so now let me... Whenever I click refresh, it just makes my screen go small and then it goes back to large.
That would be it refreshing, so that is correct. But we want it to be able to get the done button to go purple, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, if you have a question, we can take this as a Q&A.
Yeah.
While you wait for Latin. Did you have a questions so far?
To be honest, it's very busy, the dashboard. So I really, to be honest, have really no idea.
Were you there when I explained the cash flow statement?
Maybe not, no.
Okay. I can go over it again. Apparently, I did a good job explaining it. You won't be able to see mine, but you'll be able to see yours. So earned income is your salary. I'm a janitor, so my earned income in a month is $1,600. Under the passive income, I don't have anything. Passive income is anything. Mostly, I think it comes from properties. Like, if you had a property, Meno, out of the 3 of us right now, I think he will have passive income because, he purchased that property. Yes. And then your total income will be the addition of your earned income plus your passive income.
Okay.
And then my total expenses at the moment are $806.75. And my cash flow is $793.25, which is my total income is $1,600 minus my expenses, and then the money that I have left over, which is the $793.25. The bottom parts, I get a lot of reds and minus. That one, I'll need Meno to explain it again, I think.
Okay. I'm just kind of, the red part there. All right.
Like, the home, the car, the credit card. So I'm guessing that in my account, in my checking account, I have $796.50.
So to play the game, really, what are the main columns? Because this is just kind of like what I've got.
So basically, let's just say if you wanted to buy, let's just say you wanted to buy more stock. Literally, how do you know how much money you have? So you only have, after your expenses, the 793.
Yeah.
That's it. So, you're utilizing your cash flow. So the additional money that you have left over after you pay all your expenses. I think that the idea of the game is, instead of saying, oh, I paid all my bills and then I have $500 sitting in my account, what do we do? Let's just go out and
yeah.
and spend it. Looking at ways of saving it and then investing it.
Okay. So it's really trying to work out with the savings that we have, what we can purchase. So putting all your own information in there would be better, because then you can kind of play real but not real when you're doing deals, so you can see what the outcome will be.
So This is what he was saying, that there is a section, but I think it's more advanced. Is that correct, Mino?
Correct. So we do have a section for that, because it is of great advantage, and it also tricks your brain into thinking that you actually did something that you didn't really do in real life, because your brain doesn't know the difference between a game and real life. But if you're playing with your real life numbers, because you might be playing as, for example, a janitor who doesn't have a lot of expenses, but not a lot of income either. So it doesn't feel real because, well, they have less expenses than I do. So of course they can buy that property. Or you might be an airline pilot who earns a lot more than you do. So it doesn't really fit reality. But first we need you to be able to understand how everything works and where everything sits. Once you know how to play the game, once you've gotten a little bit used to the layout and how the game flows, then you can start playing with your real life numbers. And then your brain says, oh, wow, I'm actually able to do this. I didn't know I had the capability of buying this many shares. And so then you start to see possibilities. Then you can experiment with, let's see what happens if I do this. And then you might have overextended yourself, but you've learned the lesson about being careful about overextending yourself. The beautiful thing is that you can...
How do you get to that level?
By playing multiple times.
Okay.
Can I just share my experience?
Oh, please do.
In the last game, Janelle, Mena was the janitor and I was a doctor earning $13,000 a month. And, but I was in the minus and he had properties and I didn't. So what I learned from that session is that sometimes it's not about the amount of money that we earn, which is always the, I need to be a lawyer and a doctor and be, these big income in order to be able to afford things. It's about how we manage our income.
Money. That's what I really love to see. Yeah.
And the thought that, we, your personal thoughts and worth and value that you give to money itself. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, this is cool. This sounds very good.
So today there were not a lot of players, and you're getting. I think today is great because we're getting to do a lot of talking, which we don't usually get to do in the previous games because we have players that are more advanced. But I felt that when I joined in, I didn't have all this information, so I was playing and I was just trying to guess, and I was just literally picking and choosing, and that's what I was making these choices because although I was asking questions, I didn't want to be holding back everyone asking a lot of questions.
That's why we're going to start beginners and advanced so that there can be a session with beginners who can ask as many questions as they like. It doesn't disrupt the flow of the game because everybody's asking lots of questions and needs the answers to those questions. And then we'll have the more advanced version, which allows people who already know how to play to go a little bit faster and get through to the sections that they're not too sure of and figure out how they can implement strategy. Because first you need to just know how to play, and then you can start learning and playing around with strategies.
So is this just an electronic version, Menno, of the board game?
So this is currently still an electronic version of the board game, but we've already made quite a few changes. And with some of the new additions that we are putting together, so we're making a more realistic stock market in the background at the moment, that is going to make it not even seem like it's the game of Cashflow, and it will turn into its own simulator. at some point, which is going to be very, very powerful because it's going to allow you to be able to see how the stock market works a little bit more realistically. It's going to allow you to see taxation that you don't see in the game. It's going to allow you to be able to, as we talked about before, figure out what the advantages of charity are going to be. Because in the game, you have the advantage of being able to roll the dice a little bit more. But here, what we're going to do is we're going to actually create those tax benefits for you when you are investing into a charity. And we'll look at other ways that it works in real life so that we can add it into the game. The beautiful thing about it is that this is a game. So you can do something that you've never done before. You can buy stocks more than you usually would or outside of your comfort zone. You can see if it goes horribly wrong or it goes horribly right. No, beautifully right. So,
and also,
go ahead, Tanya.
At the end of the game, Menno is going to give you some feedback, like a summary of what he, the things that you did as well.
Okay.
So I write some notes. So if I'm not looking at the screen, that's probably why. I write some notes to have a look and evaluate what you've done throughout the game, so I can give you a bit of feedback and ask you questions around why you did certain things, perhaps.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you.
On those podcasts, and I don't know if this is related, Menno, but although I have asked my accountant, right, he was just saying the other day, look, he doesn't really have the time, because I said, look, can you do like a webinar, or you should do some, and he was just saying like, he didn't have the time for it. But something that it could be beneficial as well to know when you were talking about tax is, what are the things that you can actually claim on tax? Because there are a lot of things that we can claim on tax that we actually don't get to claim.
So I was actually asked about accounting and taxation by somebody today. So this is a video that I'd like to make together with an accountant. I have 3 accountants, one that I used to do events with, who is a tax specialist. I have my own accountant because I lost contact with the tax specialist a little bit when he got married and started having children. I'm thinking of having a chat to my own accountant about it. He's quite busy though, because he is actually a counselor in Paramedic Council as well. So we'll see how we go with that. And otherwise, I still have a couple of accountants that I can have a chat to, so that we can create those absolutely for certain. Because I'd like.
Yeah, it could be a long term. It could be a long term thing for starting the next financial year. So I'll put a deadline for you. July, August.
I'm being held
so we can start saving. So we can start saving those receipts.
So Tanya is going to make sure that I have absolutely created an event with an accountant so that we can look into taxation before the financial year, so that everybody that's in Cashflow is 100% geared up for the best ever refund on their taxes.
Or for next year, because right now I don't have any receipts.
We might be able to organize that. If we get you starting to invest, then there might be some things that we can do. But yes, I'd love to be held accountable to that. So very, very open to those ideas. And I'm very excited that big questions and different ideas have already come up.
Oh, it logged me out.
Okay. I think we've all been kicked out of the room, so we'll go back. Oh, I think I'm the only one that's still in the room. Yes. That's okay. So if you both like to come back into the room.
So do I have to sign back in as well too?
So I'm not sure where you are right now. I think you may still be in the game, but out of the room. If you're out of the room, you can just rejoin room 1. If you are out of the game,
it's saying room 1.
Sign back in.
Oh no, waiting for Mimo to select a card or a deal. Is that right?
Yes. So you can see that on the screen that I'm sharing, but I see that neither of you are in the game together with me.
No.
So feel free to hit the room button and come back into room 1, because right now I am playing all by my lonesome.
Oh, it says room 1 beside me.
It does. That is.
Mamma mia.
Here we go.
No, I think you're outside the room, because you have to click on the purple one. Where did you get a baby?
No.
Because I accidentally clicked on that one thinking I was inside the room, but I wasn't. And I got a baby. Luckily, I escaped quickly from there. No more baby.
Because it actually carries over into the main game. Doesn't matter which.
Oh, no. I don't want a baby.
So I think you might need to hit the purple room button one more time and see if you can come and join us. Because at the moment, you are not in the room with us.
It doesn't really give you an indication. Like I think I'm looking at your screen, so it's like kind of like on the Zoom or whatever we're doing.
Yes. So
I probably shouldn't be looking at that one, right? I should be looking at the other one, then I would notice that I'm gone out of the room.
Yes. So I share my screen so that you can see what I am doing, in case you want to get some inspiration from what I am doing. Or if I'm going to demonstrate something, if I'm answering a question I'd like to show you something, then definitely you can use my screen. But otherwise, probably keep an eye on your own screen. It'll give you a better indication of where you are.
Whose turn is it?
So it's my turn. Just waiting for Janelle to come back in. I'll select.
I'll just step out. Just take your turn, Janelle. I'll just.
No worries.
Okay, just waiting for my computer to choose a card for me.
You come back in now. Sorry, my son came over. Didn't realize I was on a Zoom call.
All good. All good. All good. Okay, so I've got nothing more than a payday, so I can hit done on that one and pass on to Tanya. I appreciate you taking the time and being okay with discussing what needs to be discussed. I think that's one of the most powerful things of the game. So
yeah, I think so too. Just asking the questions, it's really just the knowledge of it all, isn't it?
Yes, I love sharing and being able to get people to understand the concepts through the game. And always happy to take a little bit of extra time, especially for the beginners games, to be able to discuss anything that needs to be discussed.
Okay. And how often do you play the games? I'm a shift worker, so I've said yes, I'm going to many, but because I want to, but then my shift clashes. So
currently we're looking at once every fortnight. We are looking at increasing that so that we have the beginners and the advanced separated out. And we would like to also do it a little bit more than that so that we have not only weekdays, but also weekends or different other times that different people can make it. Currently, we are looking into that so that we can do that. I used to do at least 3 or 4 a week. I think it became a bit much at one point, but I used to do 3 or 4 a week. And we're also setting it up so that eventually you can also just log in at any time so that you can play by yourself if you are subscribed. And join whenever I am online, and we might be able to announce some separate games that I will be facilitating. And we might have theme games and different other things where certain things will happen. So we might have
great.
A mystery game where, for example, the stock market might be depressed the whole game. Because we can actually force the cards, because it's an online version, we can actually force cards and create certain circumstances that you can practice before it happens in real life.
Which I think is amazing. That is so good.
Yes. So I'm also very excited about it.
I'm glad I found you and the group.
And vice versa. And vice versa.
I do apologize. Today's been late in and my son's here. So sorry, I'll be totally present next time. I promise.
Life is good. Life is good. We're just waiting for Tanya to pick a 5,000 or 6,000 deal card. I think she's still there, ready to.
No, I think she's gone. Or she had to do something.
So
do you live in the Philippines, or were you just saying you wanted to be in the Philippines?
So my VA, Ethel, is in the Philippines. I am in Sydney.
Do you do face-to-face ones?
So we used to. I would like to restart them. So yes, we can also do face-to-face, and we can do those both electronic and the actual board game version.
I love to do that.
Lots of different options. I think obviously with everything that happened with coronavirus and different things, it's been easier online, and there's been more momentum online than offline. But yes, I'm always catch up with people and look at different things, do presentations, talk about different topics, and answer questions.
I'd join your group.
No, you are most welcome to, and I'm very open to ideas on other things that we can do. And as I said, there's a couple of things that we've been working on since the beginning of the year because we have big plans for what we want to do. And a lot of those are starting to fall into place now because some things need a little bit of time to be put together, obviously.
Yeah, excellent.
But the ultimate aim is to get everybody either investing if they're not investing yet or improving their investments by changing the mindset and learning the strategies that very successful people use.
And that's what I would like help on. I have a couple of investments, one just very recent, but I really want to build on them.
Very good.
Because I'm serious about retiring early.
Perfect. Then we
I'm back.
Have a chat afterwards. I will get in touch and I would love to have a call with you and find out what you are working on and how you'd like to proceed and find out what kind of things you'd need some assistance with so that we can create something to help you out.
Yeah, I'll give you lots of suggestions for more content for your YouTube page.
Perfect. Then after this, I'll send you a message and I'd love to set a time to have a chat.
All right, perfect. Sounds good.
Very good. Okay, in the meantime, Tanya has a great deal as well. So do you want to read one out and then make what you'd like to do with it?
All right, so it's a payday. So I found a great deal. It's a 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms, repossessed by the government agency, ready to go with government financing and a tenant. So if I borrow from the bank, it says, if you must.
Is it $2,000?
Yeah, so it's $2,000. So I do have $2,000 in my checking account.
Whoa,
I could actually buy it. Well, let's have a look. I get a loan will be for $33,000 at 3% for 25 years. I'm not really familiar with the LVR.
So LVR is the loan to value ratio. So how much you are putting into the deal compared to how much the loan is. So you will see that it's 94.29, which means that you have put a deposit, which is, let's have a look, about 6%.
Okay. So the monthly income is $375 and the expenses is $156. So I get a monthly cash flow of $218.51 with
That was a little bit more than mine, maybe.
Yeah, it is a bit more than yours. It's I think $100 more, or just Anta. The return on investments is 131.11%. I am gonna buy it.
Sounds good.
So this is my first time buying, so I got enough for the down payment, so I can just go buy.
Perfect.
Is that how you do it?
You can hit the buy button, and then on the top right, you will see how much cash you have next to the buy button, and then you can hit buy, and it will be your property. And then you'll see at the bottom of the screen, in your blue, red, and green section, as an asset.
Yeah, I got 35, so my total went to 65. Does anybody else wants to buy it? I can't. I can't do it, right? I would have to do sell before, right?
Yes. And then you would.
Okay, so I'm done.
So you're not able to sell it to anybody else after you bought it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, it was still blue, so I thought you could.
Okay.
All good. Over to you, Janelle.
Select a card. I'm going to go sit. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
So yes, 1,000 and over. And when I say over, it could be quite a lot over.
That's a lot over. Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's over. That's over the 100K mark.
So
okay.
It's the down payment's only 20,000. But yes, 20,000 is quite a lot, especially when I think it's only about the third or fourth turn. So you might have bitten off a little bit more than you can chew, which is a good lesson.
Okay. Oh, so once I've done that, that means I have to take it, right?
No, so you can buy it if you want to. You don't have to. So some deals are good and some deals are not good. And so the game wants to teach you how to evaluate when the game is good, or sorry, when the deal is good and when the deal is not so good. Yeah. In this case, if you were to buy this one, 20,000, you're going to be borrowing most of that, which means you'll be paying interest on that. Your interest might be higher than the monthly cash flow, which means that you would then have a negative return on this property.
Right.
The learning is to be able to evaluate when the deal is good, when the deal is not so good, and if you have to borrow in order to be able to make it possible, whether you're borrowing too much to make it a bad deal, or whether borrowing will still allow it to be a good deal.
Okay. All right. This is very cool.
At this stage, based on how much money I think you have, but I'm not sure.
It's not much.
Not much.
I had a payday. So I think I have my checking account says 5,392.
Yes.
So if I don't want to buy this because this is a bad deal, how do I get out of it?
So you can either do one of two things. You can see whether anybody else would like to buy it. I think none of us are really in the position to buy this one since it is a little bit big.
Yeah.
This early in the game. So it's still a good deal, but it's a little bit early in the game. However, you can then hit done and then it will pass on to the next player.
Okay, there you go.
And I'm just joining you again. It's pushed me out.
Yeah, well, that's it.
And then I'll send you back inside. And then
wow, another payday plus a stock onto you Entertainment Co. There's a strong demand for company's library of all movies on video leads to good share price. So today's price is $30.
Sorry.
So there's no dividend and it trades between 10 and 30. So I wouldn't buy them.
No.
I wish I had.
You know what? Sorry?
I wish I had some.
Yeah, so you can sell. But you know what? It will also be good. And I know that we had the discussion the other day because I said I wanted to know the other person's reasoning for buying and not buying. Yes. And there were pros and cons about it. Because sometimes your vision or your point of view, your perspective is different to somebody else. So you also get some feedback of what's because I did ask Menno that at the last time, what was your reasoning from making that transaction? You know what I mean? So I got to learn from his point of view as well.
Yes, with that's more so than with stocks. Stocks, you have the trading range and you can see if it's high or if it's low. But there is a slight difference. Some people will only buy at a very, very low price, and some people are happy to pay a little bit more in order to be able to get a quicker gain out of them. But yes, if you have the question of why something was done, feel free to ask. Not everybody will be happy to share, especially if there are more advanced players. But I'm always happy to share what my thinking process is and why I've done something. Because it's all about...
Did anybody interested?
I am good, but thank you.
No, I'm Jenna? Okay. No, thank you.
I just wish I could sell them. Wish I had them. Okay, over to you, Janelle, when you're ready.
Okay. All right, let's not be silly. Oh, hang on. I'm in the wrong one again.
My guess is that you're going to choose a small deal this time.
Yes. Clothes, buy new clothes, pay $250.
Okay, so this is what's called a doodad. And this is something that in the board game you have to do.
Okay, so we have to pay.
You don't have to if you don't want to. Or what I find even better is if it's something that you would do in real life and you would waste your money on a regular basis, then I would suggest that you pay for them. If it's something that you would never do and it's something that is very foreign to you, then you wouldn't have to do it. So if you are the type of person that would go out and splurge on some clothes every once in a while, then my suggestion is that you would pay for that one. Because just like in real life, it's showing you where you are doing some things that might not be so beneficial for you.
Yeah. So I've done that. I've paid it.
Okay, very good.
Oh, sorry. And then now I click done, correct?
You click done, yes.
Sorry. One step forgot. There you go.
Nothing to be sorry about.
That's my turn, is it?
And that was your turn, yes. So sometimes you get rewards, sometimes you get doodads. Sometimes you just get paid. And that's it.
Oh, my God. I've had a charity and a doodad. That's not very good, is it?
So it doesn't really matter, but it just means that you haven't gotten the kind of cards that you want just yet. That happens.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have another 3-2 house. This one's a low down payment to pick up this 3-2. Unexpectedly moving out of town, the owner. Right person will do well. Use this yourself or sell to another player. This one doesn't have as high of a return on investment, so it's only 38.5%. It still has a cash flow of 97, and the down payment's a little bit higher at 3,000, but the cost is a little bit lower at 50 instead of the 55 that I had before. So that means that it has a loan to value ratio, which is point something lower at 94%. So for me, that is good enough to say that I would like to get it. You actually need to check how much cash I have. If I pool all my funds, I should be able to. So I'm going to start by transferring some money across. I'm even going to raid my savings so I have enough money, because I think the deal is good enough to say, yeah, I want to get that. My computer's a little bit slow. Bear with me for a second. Here it comes. Okay, there we go. So I'll transfer my investing account money to my checking account. And then I need to transfer the savings, and then I can buy that one. Okay, I have enough to buy that one. So I'm going to buy. And that one I will quickly check. So now I have 2 houses. So I know that transaction's gone through, and I will hit done. And then we're over back to Tanya. And feel free, if you did have any questions around that one, to ask that one. And then Tanya, I think you can choose the 5,000 or the 6,000 button.
I got another payday and find a great deal. You know what? When I was a doctor last time, I was being let go all the time. And here as a janitor, I'm getting all these great paydays. See, this is another good deal.
Yes.
But let me see how much money I have. Okay, yeah.
Can I just ask, so your good deal, Tanya, is an ROI of 131.11%, whereas Menno, your one before, was only 38, but you still class that as a good deal.
Yes. So return on investment is very interesting when you're looking at different parts of the world. So, for example, in Sydney, you'd be lucky to have a positive cash flow and a return on investment at all. A lot of people in Sydney will buy property in order to negative gear and actually make a loss on that property so that they can claim it on the tax, which the Labor government wants to get rid of, which is why they probably will not get elected until people feel that they are safe from Labor getting rid of that wonderful thing that Australians love to do, which makes no sense, but that they love to do. So, if you go to a place like a couple of years ago, Glasgow in Scotland, quite a lot of Scotland had extremely good return on investment. And properties with between 6 to 8, sometimes 10% yield. which means that you had a positive cash flow with quite a lot on there, which means that you are getting quite a lot of your loan back. So to find something that has 131%, you would need to go to a place where it is extremely depressed, where you're getting an extremely cheap property and still being able to get a high cash flow. In Sydney, the property prices are high and the rents are relatively low. So the game is showing you what it was like in America in the 90s, and certain parts of America had extremely high return on investments. In real life, you would be lucky to get 10% return on investment, for example. So to me, the 38% deal is still good. The 131, you would need to do a lot of shopping, and you'd need to find the right place in the world to be able to find a deal like that.
Right. So these are like, for these, like Tanya's offer now, is this based in like America or something? Because there's no way, like this is like totally unrealistic if it's in Sydney.
This is definitely not 2022 Sydney.
Okay.
we're actually making new cards, and we are updating them to be Sydney cards, or at least Australian cards. I'm looking for properties around Australia that are actually for sale right now with actual rental yields. We've already put a few into an advanced version that is in the back end and is still being worked on. And so we're going to have Australian cards based on real deals with more realistic figures. But for the moment, we're still using the original cards. And then we get great questions like this that I can use to explain until we have more realistic Australian cards, which will probably also get questions, but slightly different ones.
Okay, makes sense.
Can I just give you also my input?
Sure, of course.
On the other hand, right, when you look at the deals that I make, I am very conscious of, and this is what the game, like today is just a lot of information coming your way, Janelle, but in the next couple of, once you get the hang of it, then you're going to go into that, getting yourself, like having that aha moment and kind of letting, your way of thinking, it will come out. So for instance, like I am very mindful of when I look at a down payment. So one of the big things for people, like, you know what I mean? We potentially can't pay for the mortgage, but we don't have enough for the down payment. So this is why a lot of people rent, and you know what I mean? So it's such a demotivator. So if we were actually dealing with real numbers, like a big number of Sydney, Sydney market, yep, it will be a big demotivator. So when I look at I know that this is unrealistic. I'm not going to find a property, maybe in the US, that, for this and for this down payment and stuff like that. But you know what I mean? But the whole idea of this is just for you to be able to identify a deal, for you to be able to identify how much money you have, all those incomes. So kind of overlooking the whole thing. But talking about America, where I used to live in Virginia. So in the area where we live in Virginia, that was considered a county, like a country area, you could buy with no deposit, like a zero deposit. But the hardest thing for Americans to buy property is that they don't have a good credit rating. So it's the opposite to what Australia has. Australia's deposit and price market is so high. Over there, not everyone can afford a property because, the wages are $7.45 for the hour wage. So you know what I mean? So yeah, it's all out of whack, basically.
And America also doesn't have as strong of a banking system. So we have a government that doesn't allow as much competition in banking and protects the banking sector, and also makes sure that they are a little bit more responsible than the American banks. So there's lots of different things that impact with regards to the ROI and those things. The way I make my decisions are based on the game. And this is one of the important distinctions that it's probably a little bit early to share with you, but since it's come up anyway. So I play the game based on my knowledge of what cards there are in the game and what the strategy of the game is. When I'm playing in real life, I'm going to be looking at what are my advantages, what kind of decisions are going to help me to achieve my goals in real life. So in the game, I have an idea of what kind of cards there are, and it's very different to real life. In real life, I need to adjust my thinking, and I need to look for deals based on how reality works and what a good return on investment is in reality, and which parts of the world have good and bad economies at that point in time, what the geopolitical aspects are. There are many, many different things. So the game is very, very simplified in that sense, but it gives you the basic concepts so that when you go out, you already have the basic concepts to work with, and then you only have to add a couple of things. If you go out into the real world without the basic concepts, it is extremely difficult, and the basic concepts from the game give you an idea of where you can be caught out in real life. So in real life, people will very often prey on people who don't know what they are doing. And so if you have the basics, it's much harder for somebody to convince you to do something which is not good. So yes, there are lots of different extra things that you need to know about. But if you have the basics, it's much harder for somebody to pull the wool over your eyes and take you for a ride.
Perfect. Thank you.
So hopefully that answers the question of the ROI.
Yeah.
Okay.
And apologies in advance if I asked you the same question a couple of meetings down the track. I do have a bit of a dory.
Don't mind at all.
Once it sinks in, it'll be right. So apologies in advance.
I actually teach memory as well. And one of the things around memory is that certain things, unless you know how memory works and you use the techniques and you actually follow the methods that the brain uses, it's difficult to memorize things. So if you don't know the way to memorize, it's good to keep asking the same questions, because that repetition will allow you to be able to remember. So I have absolutely no issues with that at all.
Cool.
Oh, I have a student for you for that memory. We can talk later about it.
Okay, sounds good. So actually,
there's another course.
So I've already got a couple of videos up on YouTube, which is a memory course that is slowly going up. I think I need to redo them because it's quite a while ago and the video quality isn't good. The quality of the actual content is extremely good. The video quality could use a little bit of work. So we will get that sorted. But in the meantime, you are most welcome to watch that original version. If you can deal with the slightly worse video quality, you can still get...
Is it black and white with the little...
Definitely not that.
Then you'll be all right.
But I am not from the black and white generation. I did not make this.
There you go. But still good.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Okay. On that note, I have a payday, and we have OK For You Drug Company. Today's price is $30. It trades to $40. So that's quite high. Some of us actually have this one. So if you'd like to sell, you can. I will mention, though, that we've only had it for 2 months, which means that we haven't had it for 12 months, which means that our taxes will be a little bit higher. So the way it works is that the government says if you have owned those shares for less than 12 months, then we're going to take whatever profit you make and add that to your income. And so you pay tax over the full amount. If you've owned it for more than 12 months, the government says, thank you so much for supporting that company and holding it for a bit longer. We want to reward you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that profit that you made. So let's say we made 100,000. That would have been our profit and added to our income. Now they say we're going to divide that by 2. So we're only going to add 50,000 to your income. And so you get 50,000 that's not taxed and 50,000 that gets added to your income and then gets taxed.
And if you sell it prior, how much do they take?
And then they just so they add the full profit. So if it's 100,000, they take the full 100,000 and add that to your income. And so you get taxed over the full amount. If you follow the rules and you do what they would like you to do, they give you a little bit of a bonus, and they will give you 50,000 of that money without the tax, or 50% without the tax. And they will then only add 50% to your income. And that's the portion that gets taxed. So you get 50% tax-free.
Okay. Cool. No, I'm not going to buy any.
So yes, probably not buying, but it's up to you whether you'd like to sell. So let me know if you'd like to sell or not. Otherwise, I will hit done if nobody wants to sell at this point in time.
Okay, before you move.
Oh, I have not done anything. I was going to wait until I heard from everybody. Not.
So can you see my assets, liabilities, income, and expenses?
I cannot. I can stop sharing and you can share your screen if you like.
But I think you have to give me
yes, I can
permission
for that. That is quite easy. So I go to security, share screen, allow participants to share screen, and there we go.
We had the aircon. It was so hot, but we had the aircon on full steam, so I needed to get a blanket. It's like you're at the beach, and I'm like, okay,
you're in the snow.
I'm in the snow. All right, so I just wanted to hang on.
Yes, feel free to share the screen, and then we'll have a look and we can evaluate.
Yeah. All right. So my cash flow, right, which is here at the top, it's all looking good. I'm having a passive income of 750, but my concern is in this section, which I haven't mastered it just yet. I can see that I have that stock.
Yes.
Which I could have sold at $30. I bought it for $1, so I could have made a profit of $29 per stock.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 2 properties, but see how I only have $17.52
in your checking account.
In my checking account.
Yeah.
Is that different to my cash flow account of $1,061?
So that means that right now in your bank account you have $17.52, and that's it. That $1,061 is how much you will receive next time you get your payday.
Oh,
so right now you are a little bit cash poor because you've spent lots of money. When the boss is nice enough to pay you again next time, he'll give you $2,350, and then you have to pay your expenses of $1,288. The game will do that automatically, so it's like a direct debit, and then you should have $1,061 left on your account after that.
Now, when you look at the monthly cash flow and all of these, can you see my cursor?
Mm-hmm.
I can. Yeah. A second. I just need to move everybody's face a little bit more to the left. Yes, because you.
Oh yeah. The minus 104, minus 84, all of these minuses.
Yes.
Can you explain those ones?
So the reasons those are minus is because you are paying $104 every month to pay your home mortgage. You're paying $84.99 on car payments. Your credit card, you have to pay $74.33 per month to repay the credit card off. And your retail debt, so debt that you have towards other shops, is $50 per month. So every month you're paying those. So all of those red ones added together make up your total expenses.
Expenses.
In that top left-hand corner.
Yeah.
Your total expenses. So that's made up of all of those red sections. So your taxes and your children's expenses and your other expenses are all added up to become that one. So the monthly cash flow is calculated by taking your total income, which is all the black ones, minus all the red ones.
Okay. So this was one issue that I had in the last game as well, Janelle, that I like, you know what I mean? And this is what I was saying to you before. This is a good day for you to join, because I was asking a lot of questions, but I was kind of held back. I didn't want to all of these things in little detail because, you know, I didn't want to, the other players were more advanced, but I didn't quite have the opportunity to understand the bottom part. And I can see that I have money in there, and I could see that I have $72.52. So if I lose my job, you know what I mean? I still will have a passive income of $750, which I'll get from my 2 rentals, but that doesn't cover all of my expenses. And then I'm at risk, like, you know, what if one of the tenants leave? You know what I mean? Of what if they don't pay rent? So, it gets you thinking of all of these little things, although you're not using your money. You know what I mean? When I saw it,
100%.
because it's a game, I still bought it, and I knew that I have 1752, but in real life, I wouldn't have purchased the last property because, you know what I mean? I don't want to borrow money from the bank, and I don't want to end up, just tight on money. I could lose it all pretty much.
Yeah.
And
this is so lifelike, but play. It's so good. This is very good.
Pass on to Mladen as well, because he's put his hand up and he would like to share some ideas that he has around that as well.
Okay.
Tanya, I suggest you to click the cross button when it asks you, do you want to have Microsoft Edge as browser? And you have more stuff on it. First line, it says confirm options and cross. Get rid of it.
Where? Hang on.
So above the round circle that says
left off.
Continue browsing from where you left off?
Yeah, close that window.
Oh, you mean that one? Oh, you mean that one?
No, there was a little cross. You said confirm options, and then there was cross. It asks you, do you want to use Edge as a web browser as your default? Because you open the game in Edge, not in Chrome, not in Firefox.
Oh, do I have to?
But since it's waiting there for you to confirm, you don't see a menu of the game.
Okay. So I have to get that link and open it again because I closed it.
Do the little cross to get rid of that so that you can see it a little bit better again.
It might pop back up automatically for you, Tanya.
Yes, at some point.
Yeah, Menno said that he's not good at computers, but I think I'm worst. I do the basics. and my children,
we get there.
And my children get so annoyed about it. And I say, well, but I can do other things. And you've been trained by me, so hello. Got me something.
I wouldn't worry about it too much, but I'm glad that the question came up, and I'm happy to answer all of those questions. So, yes, the game is all about learning to practice different strategies. So this time around, Tanya is buying more properties than she otherwise would in real life. And so she's going to be able to learn from that and see what happens. Next time, she might be a little bit more conservative. Next time, she might want to do something different and see what happens. The idea is that when you play the first time, I can actually tell a lot about your real life because you're going to do everything the exact same way you do it in real life. If you can break free from that and start doing different things, because most people will play again and again, and they'll always do the same things, which is what they do in real life. And then they're not understanding why their life won't change, but also the game won't change. And then they get frustrated. They don't come back. But if you can let go of that, and that's why I always mention it, if you can let go of that and you do different things, you'll see what happens. And the nice thing about this game is that if you do something and it goes horribly wrong, it doesn't matter because it's only play money. You haven't lost any actual money.
Yeah, which is great.
In your life and you stuff up, then you're going to lose actual money, and it's very painful, and it might take a couple of years to actually get it all sorted again. So it's really good if you can you play a couple of times, and every time you do different things. So the first time you just play the way you usually would. And then you start experimenting a little bit. If you can let go of that, it allows you to be able to change things in real life as well. And things that you were afraid of, you can actually start doing, or you can get somebody to help. I can help to guide you towards being able to take the first step, for example. And then you're actually able to start doing things differently in real life, which means you also get different results in real life.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Beautiful. So I chose a card and it came up with mutual fund.
I'm going to
Grow for Us fund.
I'm going to have to go back to my screen because I'll share my screen again, and then I can go back in and actually see what you are doing, because right now I can only see everybody's face. Okay, let me rejoin the room, and then I will see where we're all up to. Okay, mutual fund, Grow for Us. Today's price is 20. So it trades from 10 to 40. So it's somewhere in the middle. Some people will say, yes, I would still like to buy it and get some upside. Some people will say, I prefer to buy it when it's lower so I can make more profit. So there is no right or wrong answer, but there's different thoughts that you could have. And depending on where you are in the game, it's going to be different. So if you have tons and tons of money, you might say, well, I wouldn't mind making a little bit on it, so I'll put some in. If you have very little money, Tanya would probably look at that and go, I have nothing. So it's a bit hard. If it was really low, I might borrow some, or I might see if I can put whatever I have into it. But if you have very little money, you might say, and it's a bit higher, you might say, well, it's not really much point for me to go into this one. Wait till it's a
Which
bit
is
lower.
Yeah, that's what I think. So I'm going to pass, and I think I'm the only one that's allowed to buy it. So I just click done.
So everybody's allowed to buy it, but I think everybody will probably have a similar thought pattern. I doubt that Tanya will buy it, especially given that I know exactly how much money she has on her bank account.
I got $17.25 to be exact. Which
paid,
my Dina was more expensive than that, so I couldn't afford the Dina if I was to buy it earlier.
I keep a very close eye on everything that's going on, so I know exactly how much money everybody has and what you're up to. But it also allows me to answer the questions. I'm not doing it to spy or cheat, so don't worry. No,
and it's funny you said that, because I put a cap on things. Like, I don't buy things that they're more than a certain amount of money. And I'm doing the same thing with the shares. So it's spot on what you said before. You're playing how you you kind of tend to act in your real life.
Yes. It's really good to start playing around with different strategies. And as you're doing that, you start creating rules for yourself where you notice that things are going well or things are going wrong. If you start doing that, you start creating little rules that you can start living by. So, for example, some people have a jar system where they'll take a certain amount of income that they have and they will put it into certain jars that they're saving for things. So they might have one for investing. They might have one for long-term savings of some sort. They might be saving up towards something. They might have an account for education. So they'll actually set money aside for education. So as you go through life, as you play, you can start experimenting, and that experimentation will show you what works, what doesn't, and then you can create rules for yourself. And if you are disciplined, and this is why women are always better investors than men. Men, we have egos, and we say, oh, I don't have to follow the system. I can do better than the market. I am a genius. I can do this. I can do that. Women, on the other hand,
you don't say that, do you, Menno?
Sorry?
You don't say that.
I've learned to have more of a female brain around investing. Obviously, as a man, I would love to do things a little bit differently and experiment and do things to find out whether I can outperform things. That's just how men's brains work. But a woman, on the other hand, is going to come up with a way to find the system. Once she has a system, she'll implement the system. If she knows that there's going to be a certain return, she knows that that's going to be consistent, even if it might be a little bit lower to what the man is doing, because the man is going to have sometimes really big returns because he's going to luck into getting really good returns. And sometimes he'll luck out and he will lose vast sums of money. Whereas the woman will say, I would rather just have my $400 coming in every month. And I know that I'm going to have $400 coming in per month. And if I reinvest that, it might be $400 this month. It will be $420 next month. It's not rocket science. It's not that much. But I'm going to have $400, and then I'm going to have $420. And then I reinvest that extra $20, and then I have $430 coming in. And then as it grows, it's going to get more and more. So now it'll be $450, $460, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you can start to create those little strategies and those ideas, then you create those little rules. And if you keep to your rules, it allows you to be able to create consistent returns. Or you can be like a man and you can have like a really big windfall one month. You've got like 2,000 coming in. And then the next month you lose 500 and you make another 1,000 and then you lose 2,000. And so men tend to have systems that go up and down because they want to see if they can beat the system. And women just have systems and just follow the systems and just have consistent results. But this is where you can start playing and experimenting in the game to see what works and what doesn't. And you can start to create those little rules for yourself to figure out, what would I like to do? Am I okay? Some people are completely okay with ups and downs. Some people live for the excitement of, oh, this month I made a lot. And then they don't get affected by losing a lot the next month. Some people, they would commit suicide if they lost that much in 1 month. So we have different personalities. Some people are more risk averse. And some people, they're just magnets to risk. They just love it. They just enjoy that feeling of the adrenaline.
The rush of it.
But if you do want to be successful investing, it is probably a better strategy to have the female brain and to invest on a consistent basis with a system that will give you consistent returns.
Yeah. Cool. Good advice. So I've passed that and clicked done, and I think it's up to Tanya's go.
Tanya's turn. We just got sidetracked.
Sorry, I was looking, no, because I was looking at your screen. Hang on.
Yes.
You know, when you're looking at Zoom, so my screen doesn't.
Yes, I thought as much. I had figured that out, but that's okay. It's all good.
Okay. Is it REIT? Offers $30,000 per unit for all units in apartment houses of 12 units or more. Has own financing. Buyer has funds from sale of complex in another city. So everyone may sell at this price. If you sell, pay off the related mortgage and give up the cash flow you currently receive on this property. 30,000. So
I can't see Tanya already playing. Normally we get that up there. Mine still says waiting for Tanya to select a card, and I've refreshed.
Yes.
Am I doing something wrong?
She is in the game with us. I'm going to hit refresh one more time.
Mine saying select a card again, but I already, there's a card already here. Do you want me to click it again, select a card?
We might need to check in with Mladen, just in case.
But basically, what this is saying is that someone is buying apartments for $30,000, right?
Yes. So it sounds like it's a sales card. So
for a 12 units
market card, which means that you have the opportunity to sell. I don't think anybody owns any apartment buildings because I've only seen 32 houses that have been bought throughout the game.
I only have a house. Yes. So no, that's not mine. Anyways, I'm just going to go done because I don't think anyone.
So it's a blue card, which means that it doesn't really affect any of us. And hopefully we'll keep an eye on it, see whether if I hit select card that you can see my card.
Yeah, I can see yours. Has just come up.
Yes.
No, mine is showing still waiting. Excuse me. I'm going to resubmit my.
Yes, maybe see if you can refresh. Oh, it just kicked me out. But
it went to Janelle though.
Yes. So
okay.
You know,
there's a glitch.
Okay, so can you guys see that? I get payday plus a house for sale.
No.
It's working. Oh, I can see your card this time around.
I can't see it. All I said is waiting for Lee 007.
Aha.
Yeah, that's what it did for me for you, Tanya, when before.
Yes. Do you want to read the card out and then
okay, yeah.
Know what it is?
Please
so it says paid.
Please sign out and sign again.
It's kicking all of us out throughout, so we might need to sign out and sign back in. I think Mladen's found and fixed the glitch, but to be able to do that, we need to sign out and sign back in so that it refreshes.
Just sign out of the room?
How do you sign out?
I'll sign out
of the game.
Okay.
There's a button, sign out, and then you can sign back in, and then it should have calmed down. The game just...
I haven't figured out how to change my password. I'm still using that password that they gave me, which is like a pain.
I have to do that too, Tanya. I'll do that later, though. I've got it written down somewhere.
No, because so I didn't change it last time, but it is a pain, like, going uppercase, lowercase, number, symbol, and again.
Okay, so...
Mano, go to settings.
Okay.
Mano, go to settings. Mano. Yes. My account. My account?
Yes.
You can change your password here.
Oh, perfect.
Hang on, Mena, don't move because I'm looking at my account.
I'm not moving.
Freeze. Where did you go? Settings?
In my account.
Yeah, I just did
Settings,
it.
my account. Okay, yeah.
Thank you, Mladen.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, I still will write it down. We need to work on that memory.
Yeah.
Too many.
So everybody ready for me to move again?
Yes.
My muscles were starting to atrophy, and I was starting to wonder whether I'd ever be able to move again. Okay, so I have created room 1 again. Everybody is in. Very good. I'm just waiting for the page to open up completely so I can choose my card. Here we go.
What is with the red writing that pops up? Is that like
looks
what?
like it.
By Warren?
So
Because I'm seeing Robert Kiyosaki, then Kim Kiyosaki.
And then Warren Buffett?
Yeah, correct, Warren Buffett, yeah. Oh, certificate of deposit.
Okay, so a certificate of deposit is what in Australia we call a term deposit. So you give your money to the bank for a certain amount of time, and they will pay you more interest based on the amount of time that you leave the money with them. They obviously make ridiculously more amounts of money on that money than they pay you. So they make a very good profit on that. But it's a way that you can invest your money in a very, very secure way. So the bank will always pay you your money back, and they will always pay you your interest. Whereas...
But we were speculating before as to the certificate of deposit, and we were just throwing what we thought it was a term deposit and how it worked.
Yes, then please share your ideas, and then I'll let you know what it is once you've completed your speculation, which is always a really good way of learning, by thinking of your own ideas and then finding out what the difference is between what you thought and what it actually is. I'll turn my
what I shared was that, I mean, for me, it was more like, I know that you can do it in 6 and 12 months or 1 year, 6 or 12 months, or I don't know, longer term.
Yes.
It doesn't give you a lot of a high rate on interest, but the idea of the concept behind for me was more like of having money out of sight, out of mind that is not accessible. And then I will only use that option, for instance, if for 6 months, I don't know what to do with that money, but have it in a safe place where I know that I'm not going to be able to use it.
Correct, yes. So
I don't know, Janelle, you're sure?
Yeah, exactly that. But from say, for example, for us, if we're to purchase it.
Or not, and I can go with it. Because assets that you would buy, it doesn't mean I'm going to buy, or Tanya would buy, or anyone else. Each of us is different. So we need to find out what is good for us.
Yeah.
So it's hard to answer the question, is it good to buy or good to sell? It all has to be your lifestyle. And here through this simulation, you need to find out who you are and what suits you.
That's very valid. Yeah.
So I very often say that there is no point to me sharing what I would do. So I can explain my reasonings, but there's no point to me explaining what I would do, because if you only copy me, your personality is going to be different to mine. So if I feel comfortable with something that's risky, then you might feel extremely uncomfortable doing that. If I tell you something which is very, very benign, and you need excitement and you want higher returns, then again, it's not going to be good for you to do what I am doing.
Yeah.
So the idea is that I can share some ideas, but what I want everybody to do is to experiment and just play around with the concept. So ask the question, how does it work? I can explain how it works. And then you can play around with, well, me as the first time player or as a beginning player, I don't feel comfortable doing that. So the first couple of times, you're probably not going to do it. And then at some stage you say, I'm not really getting that far in the game. How about I actually see what happens? Maybe this is a good thing. And then you do it. And then you find out whether it was good or if it wasn't good. And then you do the same with other things. So again, you ask the question, you say, how does this work? I don't know what it is. That's why I stay away from it. So things that we don't understand, we just generally don't touch, which is why it's so important to learn as much as possible so that you can experience things and learn how they work. And then you're more inclined to give them a go and see what happens, especially in the game and then also in real life. And so the more you play by experimenting with things and seeing how they work and what kind of results they get you.
It's a result of years of experience. So you don't have Menno's education and experience until today, so you cannot copy him. So all the Menno can do, and anyone else, is to get classification of each of these asset classes, and then you can find out is it good for you. And that will come in a future in a certain in a new version. For example, a board game, Cashflow, is much more advanced than Monopoly. What you play now is much more advanced than board game. What I'm working on is one that will be much more advanced that you're playing now. So stick with something that you go step by step. Don't try to comprehend everything at the moment. Ask a lot of questions, and that's how you're going to learn.
On top of that, can I add something?
Yes.
You need to look at your environment as well. If you're the kind of person where, for instance, I was sharing this earlier with Menno that I bought the food investor and I wanted to do that. And I thought that was a great idea, but I never found a partner to do it with. But, I could have kind of fall back and said, I don't have anyone to do it. But I did it on my own because that was my motivator. But you know what I mean? You could be the type of person that, you kind of need someone to motivate you to those things as well. So, that you're eager to start something with someone, but if that someone falls through, you might not want to, fall through to it. So you kind of need to know that you're invested.
Are you looking for partner in a simulation or in real life?
No, I wanted my husband to do it with me, but he wasn't interested. He said, read the book and then tell me all about it.
Okay.
Typical husband response.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to figure out what type of person are you and what type of your husband. Now Menno is hiding lazily like snake. I tried to tell him what to tell you, how you can find out, and everything will be sorted out. So some people want to be comfortable. Some people can take risk. For example, Menno and I are quite opposite of taking risk. We cannot help each other. For example, Menno is like you are in airplane, and he will hit accelerator, and he will glue it to your seat. I'm brake. So he goes a little faster than I put a brake because I'm a risk manager.
Cautious, would you say, Bladen?
Yes, I'm very cautious. So, but sometimes they can take me a lot of analysis. So I need Menno to push me. Hey, you need to do something. You need to do. You cannot analyze so often. And sometimes the Menno goes too fast, and I need to break him so we can be a good team in there. Now there is a way to find out who you are and who you can talk to much easily, not just okay. Why your Tanya, your husband says, read the book and tell me. Obviously, for him, he's a time concern, and time is valuable for him. So he wants someone else to do it for him.
He's just smiling.
See?
I know it's like, you get rich and then we'll spend it together.
So he knows very well rule using other people's time.
But look, because, and I was talking with Menno about this morning, because we briefly met, and I said, look, I set boundaries, and I was just talking about those boundaries that I'm setting, because, you know, most of the time we tend to do things that, although we set those boundaries, we don't actually get to action those. And I am now like actioning those boundaries, like, you know what, I'm not going to do your stuff, because sometimes I find myself that I said, I'm not going to help you. I help him, and I'm angry and resent the fact that I'm helping. And you know, when I said I wouldn't do it, so now it's just, I don't do it. So yeah,
I'm still waiting Menno to reveal solution. And then you will not be angry at your husband. You just accept him that he is different. He needs to accept that you are different, and that is the way how you two can work together.
So
he used to coach us both, my husband and I. So
first of all, I'm just glad I've moved into the living room and I have the home internet, because in the office I only have my phone. And even though it was already up to 2% and it usually just keeps charging, it decided that it didn't want to charge sufficiently, and that the internet pool was going to be more than the increase in electricity coming in. So now I'm on a good internet that I will not drop off. So Mladen, thank you so much for taking over and continuing the conversation when my phone decided it did not want to be a part of Cashflow for a while.
Yeah, now you have another problem. Your video is flawless, sound is flawless. So there's nothing to complain about. You give me problem. I have nothing to complain about.
So what Mladen was just talking about is actually a perfect example. So when it comes to what Mladen and I do, there is definitely the ability for me to go a lot faster and Mladen to go a little bit slower. And so when we figured that out, it made it a lot easier for us to work together. So it also made us a lot better at what we were doing. And one of the things that we use to be able to do this is something called the Kolbe Index. And so it's an online personality test, which is better than the free ones. And it allows you to actually get to know who you are and who the other person is, and how you can communicate and interact best. So when Mladen and I first started working together, we were like two ships in the night, just going straight past each other. And it allowed us, once we did the test, to figure out why. So Mladen has a different communication style. So some of the things I said were putting Mladen off. Some of the things that I was doing were putting Mladen off. And vice versa. It's not just one way, it's also the other way, because Mladen's personality is going to make me think, why is he doing it so slowly? Why is he doing certain things? I have the same with my partner. So sometimes I will be very quiet because I'm thinking of a solution. And she doesn't know that I'm thinking of a solution. She thinks that I'm ignoring her. So when you work through those things, when you figure it out, then you know why something is happening, and you can actually come up with a solution to it, as opposed to having an argument around it, because both parties think that the other person is doing something different to what they're actually doing. So if you want to be able to understand what is going on between you and Roberto, if you want to understand what is going on between you and whoever it is that you're looking to achieve something with, the Kolbe Index is something that you can use that is extremely powerful, because it will show you, this is my personality, this is how I deal with this problem, this is how I deal with this situation. If the other person is open to and is willing to listen to that, and you come up with solutions to it together, then you can get past that challenge. And also vice versa. So Roberto might have a different way of doing things to you, and now you understand why he does it that way. And then together you can come up with a solution and say, for example, you want me to be able to read this book, and here is why this isn't going to work, because I have this issue with it. You are looking for that solution. How about we come up with something that works for both of us? But you need to know what each other's positions are to be able to do that. So the Kolbe Index is something that you can definitely use for that. And it's useful in every aspect of life. So not just in your relationship, but it's also important when you are doing things with people investing wise. So if you are looking to go ahead.
Oh, we used something similar in at work with the DISC model.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one similar?
Yes,
that helps.
It is similar, but this one is much more easy to understand.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit simpler. It won't give you as much information. Colbert will give you, I think it's about 8 to 10 pages worth of information on different areas of your life, and it will give you a score. And then there's even more information. So there's a book you can read that will go even more in depth into what it all means. But the initial report is a little bit more in depth, that you already get some very, very good benefits and value from it.
Actually, a full version of DISC is more than 50 pages.
Yes.
Version.
Wow.
But anyway, when you get this Colbert A index, which is personal one, there is additional more money. Let's say $55 is for Colbert A index, personal one, and I think $15 more is how you actually manage your money according to your Colbert index A.
So for a cash flow, it's very valuable.
Yeah. And if you, Tanya, do the same thing as your husband, then there is another one that will link you together and see where you work together and where you can contradict and what to do with it.
Where you clash.
Yeah. So it's got Colby A, B, C, Y, and R.
Yeah, some of them are for relations, some of them are for kids.
Oh, okay.
Some of them are for job.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
So without the Colby index, I can tell Janelle that you are definitely a fast starter because you've already opened up the website and started researching it.
Yes, same as I did before for the something else as well. So yeah, I like to know straight away.
Yes. It's also very valuable to know your own personality, because the more you understand yourself, the more you can adjust when necessary, but you can also understand why you're making certain decisions. So as an investor, it's really good to be able to know yourself so that you can make adjustments and changes where necessary.
Okay. And so, because there's obviously lots of them out there, the human design is also another one too.
There's lots of them, yes.
There's lots of them, yeah. So, okay.
I done to this model, and I'm more on the conscientious. So I sit more in that one than anything else.
So there's no right or wrong place either. So there are people in the C and the S who can be very, very successful, only they do it in a much more passive manner. Then you have your D and your I, which are people who are very dominant and influence rich, so they like to dress up like peacocks. They are also able to have a lot of success, but they just have a different style of doing it. So each of those four, it doesn't mean that you have a better or a worse one to be an investor. It just means that you're going to have a different style. But there are successful investors in each of those areas. And it's the same for the Colbert. So DISC will only give you 4 things, whereas you have 4 areas inside the Colbert, and you will get a score on each one, which gives you a little bit more detail. And that will, again, just show you who you are, and it will allow you to use that style. And it will also allow you to be able to communicate better with other people who have a different style if you need to work together with them.
Very interesting. Cool.
Or you will not be able to communicate effectively with a certain person because you're too different. That's why we need to find someone, third person, who is in between you. For example, there are 2 areas where Menno and I are on opposite side, and maybe Tanya would be a good person to link us.
Yes.
In those areas. We just need to accept that we are different and other people are different, and we are style. And there is combination of what we need to do, how to actually establish the communication.
Absolutely.
And by determining what type of personality profile is definitely going to identify the current strategy that you use when it comes to, say, for example, investing and all of that sort of stuff. So ideally, it's to find out what you are, to then be a little bit risque, because we are playing with pretend money, in a total opposite strategy, to see how that works out with us, right?
And what if you go into partnership? Then you would know strength of the team.
Yes.
Looking at particular, what is strength as a team, not just individual. So that's where we can get.
Yeah.
Even if you don't, like, if you're able to recognize, when we did that DISC model training, I couldn't get along with one of the ladies and vice versa. And when they describe, and, you know, we did that exercise, we did that at work, we realized that it wasn't nothing particular. You know, it's like how sometimes you just can't get along with someone and you don't even know them.
Yeah.
It's just the personality. It have nothing to do with how they dress or what they look like. It's just the personality, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't take jokes, and that person might like to joke around, and, you know, and I'm serious, and I take pride in my work, and that person doesn't, you know what I mean? So if we're working from where she has to do the part of the work, and then it comes to me, and this work comes and it doesn't have the standards that I need, there's going to be friction, because, you know, the end result, I take pride on it. It's going to be, you know, it's not going to be to my standard. It's going to have a lot of mistakes, and that's where the conflict starts. So learning, you know, understanding those, and learning to be able to read, you know, you're not going to have it 100%, but some of the personalities and the traits, it will help you to understand that that's not personal. It's not that I don't like this person because, you know, the way she is, but it's just we clash because, you know, the way she speaks, or I'm more conscientious than, you know, she's just more like, I don't care, just get it done and just do it.
Yeah. So now if you would talk to me, you'd be very, very painful with me. Because
painful.
I would cause you a lot of pain.
Oh, okay.
If you won't just do it. Because my personality is that I'm going in details. I'm researching and look for details. For me, accuracy is very important.
I'm like that too. I can't jump from, I need to know A to Z. I can't just go and do K. I need to know what happened before and what happened after. And I think that's what I also ask a lot of questions. And I'm always like that. And I live with 3 boys, because I only have boys at home. And it's a pain for them to go out with me. It's like they think that I make everything complicated.
If Mano gets sick of questions, you can always ask me. But I think you will have to really work hard to get Mano annoyed about these kind of questions. He has a very, very tough skin related to this.
But you know what, Laden? The funniest thing is when they have an issue, I'm the person that they come that solves their problem when they ask little questions. So,
well, you have this index specifically for them, for kids, and you would know exactly what they are. What is the best way of learning? Then you would know what kids can do and what you can do. So there will be possibility that you and your husband are not interested in certain areas, the way how to do it. But one of your kids can jump in, and their kids will be so happy to do it. So you work as a family, as a team. And
the 6-year-old will want it to do it.
And this level, I don't see that exist in this system that you can test like that kids. But this one has specialized for kids.
Yes. So yes, there are different things that you can use it for. So it's something that you might be interested in having a look at, and we can definitely discuss it further in other cash flows. And if you've done the profile, we can have a talk about it if you like, and we can have a look at, because obviously we want to set up as much as possible for you to be able to start investing more or in a better way. Yeah. So if this is something that you decide that you want to do, again, it's something that we can make videos on, and that we can talk about what the different things mean and how you can use it for your investing and how you can set up good partnerships. Again, another really good thing that we could make videos on.
Cool.
I suggest for your future to actually, if someone new comes, never played or limited playing the game, to actually give explanation of what is a business, what is stock, what is at least of each classes, and are they used for cash flow, are they used for a passive game, passive income, what is the difference between that? So instead of just jumping into the game, I think that's it'd be much easier to understand. I mean, while you're playing this online, I see that there are much better ways how to start the game, and that will be fixed in future versions. The style, and there are some tools that you'll be able to access. It'll be much easier to understand and follow. And of course, playing every day if you want, if you have access, and practice between instructor-led.
That's actually a good idea to have an introductory, like, when someone joins the game, having already a video explaining all the things that, we went over, like what all of the boxes, what's passive income and all of these things. So that will be a good resource to have, because, we're going into the game, even the guys that they've been experienced, the first time, the first half an hour to an hour, they sit back just to have a look at how it worked. So they haven't really played. I think there was one person that did that. And, I was just asking questions because I don't have an issue asking questions, but,
So we do actually have that video. The only thing is, yes, so we do have a video with the explanation, but since Mladen and I have added so many different things, I think we only have it for the old version. I think I made 3 eventually, but with all the new things that we've added, they don't make that much sense anymore. So when a couple more things have been developed, we'll probably be able to do that. But we might be able to create a simple version with just the basics to get you started, like a quick start video introduction, and then you can use that to just get started, and then we can add different elements to it for once you've played a couple more times than just the first time.
So to be able to reuse this, if you're going to be adding things, instead of actually showing that, just do something that it explain the concept itself, like, you know what I mean? So that way you can continue utilizing it, even if there are changes and it doesn't look the same. But the concept and the word, the wording, it's still the same. So you don't have to be all the time updating because you just updated something.
Yes, so that's why I'm thinking of a basic version that explains the basis of the game so that you can get started playing. So you have this button, this button, this button, and you can start playing, and then we can answer any questions, and then we can make separate sections for, this is the extra tab that you might want to learn about. This is something else that we haven't explained at the very beginning, but it will start to make sense when you're playing, and then you can watch the video around those.
Yeah.
I will definitely make note of that.
I'll give you one lame excuse. This is my problem. Because how we started with this project about 2 years ago, and I'm constantly bombarded with new ideas and getting new screens done, new functionalities. So I never finalized online help so you can see where you can go, what you can do with your screen. So that's part of me. But eventually we come, and there will be some other nice things that will be added. So you can explore yourself in between sessions led by instructor.
And what I'm also thinking what we can do is create videos that will explain different elements of the game. So in a newer version, we actually have little eyes where you can click on it and it'll explain a certain concept. And what we can do is we can create those also for different areas of the playing board, of the actual dashboard. So we can talk about the income statement, and we can have like something that links to a video that will talk about the income statement and how it works and what it is. And then we can have a part for the play board where you have the select card button, and we have the play button, the buy button and the sell button and the pay button. And then we can make a video that is linked to it, so that if you want more information, you can play that video and you can actually see what those buttons are and how they work. So each element can have separate video, and then there can be like a table of contents with inside the what would you call it? Inside the instructions, and then those instructions again have links to the videos. So how to start playing quickly, how to use the profession tab, how to use the reports tab, how to use that tab. That's one way we can do that.
And any other ideas that you might have, free to say what you would like to see in a product. What are your expectations of this simulation, and are you getting it? Are you getting a simulation? If not, why not? So we can fix it. Because eventually, idea is to take this knowledge, this basic knowledge, to turn into something real in real life. It's not just to spend time here for talking about who knows what, something that you could be able to use in real life.
But are you so is this, do you have to play it with someone, or is that to play on your own though?
You can play just by yourself.
So there's advantages to both. When you play by yourself, you are able to play the concepts and you're able to test out different strategies. But when you're playing with other people, you now have the possibility of asking more questions. So now you can get information about how other people think and what other people do. So there's advantages to both. One, you want to play quite often so that you can test out different things and you can learn the concepts a little bit better and you can practice. But it's also good to be with other people, because there might be somebody who turns up one day in the advanced group who's a little bit better at investing already. And then you can have a conversation and you'll learn what they do. And you might learn a strategy that you can use in real life. Or somebody might know, because a conversation starts up about tax, and then you can learn from them what they do to minimize tax, or what kind of deductions they are able to use. And it might be applicable to you, it might not. It might be something that's not applicable now, but might be applicable later on, if you start investing in that area where you might not be investing right now.
Just don't join a room or leave a room and you play just by yourself.
Yes.
So is this functions what you're talking about, what you're still working on to build? Because currently we all just play together. Is that correct?
No, you can play the game by yourself. Just don't be in a room. Then you play by yourself.
Okay.
So you need to subscribe, but you can subscribe in order to be able to play by yourself during time as well. And then you can obviously ask questions about that too.
For example, what you play now is actually original 101. Again, there was called Cashflow 101, as you play board game. It's very easy to win because markets go only up. But there are other versions that market can go down or sideways, which is in reality.
And as I've mentioned,
I'm working on these options so you can go step by step and add complexity as you go when you are ready to go. So instead of starting to sprint, to run, you will start to crawl, then walk, and then you can run.
Yeah. Okay. I personally would have to play it just another about 3-4 times or something, just to kind of get my head around it before I could give feedback. But yeah.
No, that's all good.
Janelle, are you in Sydney?
Yes, I am. Yeah, so I would love a face-to-face, like I was saying before.
Well, in face-to-face, you have great benefit because it will give you a chance to fill this form, these statements by yourself.
Yeah.
You'll understand where it goes. Now, the next step is, suppose you have that, or you have accountant, and then you can now move next step up. That is your digital information. So you have a great benefit from both sides, face-to-face and digital.
Yeah, That would be
So
ideal.
if you can, it'd be definitely a good idea to go with Mano if you are not far from him.
Yeah, well, hopefully, Mano, when we talk later, or organize a time to talk, maybe it might be too late now, but yeah, to discuss
probably
things
set a
further.
time, and then yes, I am very keen to do in-person meetings again. Obviously, there's been a couple of things that have made that very challenging over the last 2 years, and probably still not completely out of the woods, but that's okay. We have what we have right now, and I very much am passionate about making sure that people learn about investing, that they understand the concepts better, that they learn to escape their own mold, and that they go out and actually do it in real life. I like to see this as a bridge from the original board game, or first of all, from the book to the original board game, so that you're not just learning the concepts in a book, but that you're actually implementing them. Then from that to something which is more realistic, so that you're learning more concepts, to then be able to assist you to be able to go into real life. And if you're already doing it in real life, to be able to see that the game has multifacets, so that you can practice starting with one asset class. So let's say that you're starting out with real estate, and then how do you go from real estate investing to then maintaining your real estate portfolio without losing it, because you're now focusing on moving into stocks as well. Because very often you will see that happen, where one person is very focused on one thing, they're successful, and then they want to expand that and move into the next one, and then the whole thing comes crashing down because the focus has shifted. So you need to learn to be able to maintain the focus in one area, and then also be able to shift into the next one. But again, that's a little bit advanced for now, because right now we want you to be able to just get started with the investing. You don't need to worry about multiple asset classes just yet. That is something that we want to worry about with you later on, but right now, just worry about getting started.
Well, as I said, I've got multiple already, but I just want to make sure that they're all okay. Maybe I have this part of my character is not trusting, so I want to know how it all works, and I want to see it on paper 100% myself, and not rely on other people to do it. I want to do it.
Very good. I like the sound of that.
Yeah. So I have an idea, but I've never done it really like this, so I can play and be a bit cheeky and be a bit daring, because I would dare not do that in real life because I'm too scared to lose it all. I've worked too hard for it.
Yeah.
So,
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, I'm just having a look at the time.
Sorry,
go ahead.
That's why, Janelle, you need to figure out who you can work with.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Who is good. For example, in Rich Dad Company, there are some advisors, and one of them is Tom Wheelwright. He wrote a book about taxes, and he puts there questionnaire that you need to ask your tax advisor, tax agent, your accountant, to see is it the person right for you or not. So you actually make interview and questions what accountant should ask you, and then you can figure out is the person right for you or not.
Yeah.
You cannot just trust anyone who is on the road. It will find the first one. So obviously, it's not a normal reaction. You don't trust people around, but you need to figure. But this is now a system how to figure out who you can trust.
Yeah,
and that's why people, for example, like to play games for joint ventures, so they can quickly get out of a trace. But really, are you going to put the trust in real life? Obviously not.
So one thing that we used to do when we were actually still playing in my cafe back in the day is I had a number of people that were very interested in the idea of joint venturing on properties called syndication. And I used to teach how you could do that in the game on the board. And the interesting thing was that I then had a bank across the road from the cafe, and I had to talk to one of the bankers there because I knew that they had a lot of people who were doing syndication because they came to the cafe and they would have their meetings in the cafe where they were talking about these big developments that they were doing in syndication with each other, because these were like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, up to $150 million worth of deals. So the only way to get all of that money together is they had 5 people that put in 20 million each, 5 million each, 25 million each. And so I got the banker to come and have a talk about it. And so he spoke about the fact that in order to be able to do this, you need to be able to trust the people that you're working with. And the way you do that is by making sure that they lay everything on the table. So they need to share their taxation paperwork. They need to be able to share their accountants together so that they are either all sharing the same accountant and they all know each other's information, or they're going to get their accountants to communicate with each other so that they know what everybody is doing and how they're doing it. You need to be able to then show whether you've had any issues in the past. So you need to be able to be willing to lay everything on the table for a deal similar to that. Some people immediately hooked off and said, well, I wouldn't feel comfortable sharing all of that information. So that kind of thing's just not suitable to them. So they would not be able to do a syndication deal. For other people, they're like, well, I want to be able to do a deal that's that big. And so they're willing to do that. So again, it depends on what your personality is to be able to determine what kind of deals you can do. So for example, going down the path of starting a company and bringing it to IPO is something that some people just wouldn't feel comfortable with. Now, there's more money you can make from that process, but it's more complicated. And some people wouldn't feel comfortable because, again, you have to lay everything on the table to show what you are doing. And the public needs to know what you are doing and what you've done right and wrong in the past. And you need to show a lot of information. So, yes, you can make a lot of money doing things like that, but some people, it's not what they'd like to do. You can also set up a company and not take it public and not do an IPO. You're going
What's
to be
an
able
IPO stand for? Sorry?
So it's an initial public offering. So it's the first time that a company goes from being just a normal company to offering shares on the stock market so that they get extra funding, not just from the bank, but from the public. And so some people, that will work for them. For some people, it doesn't work. And so they then need to look at another option that makes them as much money as they would like to. So sometimes we're also hindered by who we are as to what kind of deals we can do. There are other ways of making a lot of money, but for some people, that particular kind of way will work. And for some people, they need to find a different way, or they play a little bit smaller because they don't feel comfortable sharing that kind of information. So if you want to play at like a very, very high level, there's different things you need to do. There are new responsibilities that you have to be able to play at that level.
Ooh, I want to play at that level. That sounds very cool. I'm happy to lay everything on the line. That's not a problem. There's not much to lay on the line at the moment.
I think Tanya and Mladen
so you would like to skip some levels, right?
And Janelle and I have very similar personalities.
I suggest you to join book readings on every day, 8 o'clock in the morning. Or
where is that, Mladen?
Mena will tell you that he's doing it.
So every weekday morning, I actually read a book and give my commentary. And we talk about what the book is actually discussing and what it means practically in real life. So every morning for about 10 to 15 minutes, I will read and give some commentary and talk about certain circumstances. And I'm very keen to get more people to come and join live so that we can get more of a discussion happening and more questions so that I can answer questions that are.
What time?
So I will get in touch with you afterwards. It's 8 o'clock time, and I'll send you the details so that you can join.
Okay, yeah, because I'm a shift worker, but if it's only like 15 minutes, that's fine. I can have a cup of coffee then. Okay, cool.
So I have been having a good time. I am conscious of the time, though. I want to make sure that everybody can finish on time. And usually what I would do is I would go through a number of different things that I saw throughout the game. I think we ended up with everybody having about 4 turns. I have absolutely no problem with that because it's very important that everybody can ask questions and that we take the time for that, because I want the concepts to be understood by everybody. I want you to be able to understand them so that you can take them out into real life, so that you can understand them to be able to implement them. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. What I did notice, that I have in my office, but not with me, but I noticed that both of you were willing to start implementing and willing to do some things a little bit differently, perhaps to what you were doing in real life. Janelle, I noticed that you were very keen and eager to start getting into the shares immediately. So I could tell that you definitely already knew a little bit about investing, that you were not afraid to take a little bit of risks and to get in there, which is a very good sign. So I'm really looking forward to watching what you get up to. And Tanya, also growth from last time and putting a little bit more into deals, jumping at things a little bit more. Last time you got into a bit more trouble. This time you also had not so much cash, but a little bit more conservative to avoid going down the path from last time. So that was really good. Is there anything else that any of you would like to share? We might go around one by one. What your experiences were, something that you learnt from the night, something you'd like to share, or any other questions you still have before I let you go. And then I'll send you some details about the Zooms and some other things and the videos that I've been making so you can watch those. And then I'm very keen to stay in touch to you for another game and assist you on your journeys.
I noticed that I still keep, although I did things differently, I have less money. I had 2 properties, and it's something that you mentioned the other day. But I still ended up with, I mean, I didn't end up in a minus, but I only ended up with, how much was it? Like $100 and something or 200, I think, which, you know, it would have been in trouble if I lost my job, or if I, you know, if one of the tenants left, you know, so I would have been in trouble in that sense. And I didn't have the stock for longs. It was only for 4 months. So it wasn't really worth it for me to sell that stock, although it was $30, and I would have done a $29 profit because that money would have gone to the tax.
So it's very difficult to evaluate on a game like today because we just didn't do enough. It's very difficult to say what would have happened afterwards. So I'm glad that we were able to answer all of your questions. Next time we'll be able to maybe play a little bit more so that we can actually see what direction it takes. So right now, you made the decisions that you made. It could have turned out that you went down a path where everything started to pan out well for you. And it could have also gone down the path where you kept taking slight risks and you might have lost your job at some point and it would have all gone pear-shaped. So it's difficult to say from the game based on how much we played today. So next time, let's have a look at see what happens. I just don't think we have enough data today for that. But it's a good insight that you could see that you were potentially heading back in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
I have another suggestion. Move this to true realism. So people who invest somewhere already and hit the wall, to ask question, and we can all learn from it. And this was happening, and what could be done. Not exactly answer, but helping with questions how you can analyze yourself and figure out why this is not going well for you or not. So we can ask help everyone, so we can all learn from it.
I'm glad we have the recording of this.
It to be a real problem from real life, what you hit, and you kind of have certain concerns. Can you clarify something? So one of players can have a good idea, or man would like to do everything one-on-one. So not share, I don't know. So I believe it's
no. So one-on-one is information gathering, so that the information can be shared with everybody. Sometimes it's just easier to have a conversation one-on-one to be able to find out.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you have a big discussion with lots of people, it doesn't really get to everybody getting their turn to be able to share. But
or if that would go too long, then maybe to have a session for reality, and session just like this. So take it out, this realism, so people can discuss the problems in some mind thingy what you have for these groups, to talk about real things, real issues, real examples in real life, how to deal with this. There could be separate sessions. Would that be interesting?
Mm.
So I definitely have a couple of things from my past where things have gone horribly wrong that we can talk about. And I also have some friends that I know have had things go horribly wrong. So we can
Well, we learn from mistakes and we learn from positive things.
Mm.
I'm still learning from mistakes. I still make them. So that's nothing to be worried about. So I'm glad that we've got the recording, because I've already written down a couple of ideas, and I can go back and watch the recording to find out some of these other things that we've discussed, so we can make some content around that. So thank you for sharing, Tanya. So definitely today, probably we didn't play long enough to be able to really evaluate in which direction you were headed. So hopefully next time we can play a little bit more. Janelle, would you like to share anything, any insights or things that you learned, or anything that you just feel like you'd like to get off your chest?
Well, as we didn't really get much of a chance to get into it, plus it was the first time, so I actually got a lot of takeaways just from talking to everyone and listening, and also just the few examples of when the cards come up, asking questions why, for example, you would think something was a good deal when I look at the percentage and I'm thinking, well, it's not a good deal. So it's getting different perspectives on different things. And learning about the personality. So I've got lots more stuff to research tomorrow just from this one call. So I look forward to playing and actually getting right into it.
And I'm very glad that you both got so much out of it. And the personality thing is also actually interesting, because I was going to mention and I forgot. But the fact that Mlada and I understand each other's personalities, because we both did the test, we now interact so much better. So, for example, when the challenge came up, I didn't think of the test and sharing it with you, because it was just something that I wasn't thinking of at the time. Mladen did, and so he suggested and felt comfortable suggesting to me, because I didn't feel offended and I didn't have any issues with it, that I share it with you. So he also likes to share. He likes to be able to get me to add my additions on as well. And so we were able to have a conversation about Kolbe. And I'm just so glad that we took the time to look into lots of different things, that we were able to answer lots of questions, that you both got a lot out of today. And I'm very excited to stay in touch, to do more things, to play more games, to drinking some coconut water, because my throat is now very dry from talking quite a bit.
I agree. My water's down there, but I'm going to muck up where the laptop is. So I'm looking forward to it. It's very long.
Yes.
We hear a lot of water behind you.
I know.
I think that would make you even more thirsty, that water. That water would make you a lot more thirsty. And even the one behind me here, this kind of water would probably poison me and give me a stomach ache because of all of the chlorine in it.
True.
So then I am going to leave you to it. I'm going to say thank you so much for joining, because it is an honor and a privilege having people come and want to play and want to learn. And I'm looking forward to following your journeys and staying in touch, seeing you more often. The more you play, the more you get out of it. I'm looking forward to all of your questions so that I can put together content that not only benefits you, but benefits more people by having it go out to a larger audience on YouTube, and then getting them to come and join us. Because for the beginners, it's good to have a smaller group. For the advanced, it's good to have a larger group, because you've got more people that you can learn from, people with more experience, people who have different perspectives and different ways of doing things, and might have strategies that you don't know about that you can use to great advantage, that saves you money or earns you extra money. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for your questions. I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon. Keep an eye out on your emails and on your messages, because we'll send out when we are playing again. We'll send out some information with regards to the other things that we're doing, the videos that we are publishing, and there's a newsletter that goes out every Monday with what I like to hope is some valuable information as well. Thank you to Mladen for creating the game and Ethel for sending everything out and looking after everything from that side. And then I'm going to wish you all...
a question for Ethel.
Yes. I'm not sure if she's there, but...
Ethel, if you hear me, do you know how to contact each person? Because for new people now, you receive email address, database. You can be contacted by you, Menno, you Ethel, and me. So you can contact them and give them information that I and Menno will do. She's not there.
Ethel, no. So she is helping with the recording side, but Ethel definitely does. So everybody that has played before always gets a reminder when we have a new game coming, and everybody gets the newsletter. I'm not sure if everybody always receives it at the right address, but if you let me know, I can always get her to resend it, and that's how we were able to get Tanya to come today. Tanya, you had a question.
Yeah, I was actually getting it on my promotions. So, and I don't usually read the promotions. So, at the beginning, I was receiving it in my primary. So now my Gmail is split into 3 things: social and promotions. So that might be one of the reasons, because, I knew that you run every fortnight, but I actually called Menno this morning to find out, what was happening, because I didn't get any reminders. So, yeah.
So beating the spam folder is always, and beating that algorithm is always a challenge. So that's something that Ethel and I are always working on to see what we can do to change to make sure that we get into the main folder. We're always happy to look into sending messages by SMS if need be, if you're okay with that, different other ways.
One suggestion, I was doing yoga online during the pandemic, during the lockdown. So they actually created a WhatsApp chat group for, where everyone will go there, and it will be called that, like, you know what I mean? Like a online yoga or Friday yoga. And the instructor will send what will happen, what color we needed, what fruits, what drink, and what else, we needed for the day, the night before, and the Zoom link to that one. So that could be another option, because it was more interactive in a way where, people can respond there, and then, who can make it, who cannot make it, or, can you send me the link or whatever. It could be annoying, you get all of those messages at times, but yeah.
That is a great suggestion. We need to make sure, obviously, that everybody opts in and that they're okay with being in the group. Otherwise, I can get into a lot of trouble. But if people say, yes, we'd like to do that, then that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, you ask for permission. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
And they can also opt out if they don't want to, like, you know what I mean?
Capital STOP.
There you go. You know the drill.
I do. I have had people send me stop sometimes, and I've sent stop to other people as well. So, yes, I do know that drill. Mladen, is there anything else you'd also like to add before we go?
No, I'm just thinking from developer side, because the main one is actually you go directly to link to the simulate instead of going to Man University. So there could be some ideas that could be announced on those pages as well as the WhatsApp.
Yes, that's something that we can also look into. So we'll have a chat with Ethel, and I'll have a chat with you about that. And then we'll make it easier for everybody to find the details. So appreciate the feedback on that. Then
I'm more interested now to fix user friendliness on a game and some other functionality, because I see that people are really struggling to follow controls in the game, what is where, how to use it. So I need to be more clear about it, more intuitive.
Yes, it might be possible to simplify the main screen and have more tabs so that more information is further away instead of right at your fingertips, especially for the beginner's version.
That's why I'm not playing at the moment. I'm watching more reaction of people and to see how to improve interaction.
What about if you do, like, when you move the cursor around that, you got a pop-out where it says passive income, and an example of what passive income is? Because, you know, there's one thing between watching a video and then when you're here and then you're trying to remember all that information, you know what I mean?
So you have to find out what is passive income.
I've just put that as an example, you know.
So
like
that we already have in the next version. So the next version already has a little eye with information. And so everything that you might have a question around, you can hover on the eye. We just don't have it in the version that we were playing with yet, but in the next version that is already in creation, that is already included. But great suggestion.
And there'll be dictionary of items, so you'll be able to go and find out what it is there in the help section.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Then, once again, I really appreciate you all coming. I am looking forward to staying in touch, seeing what you do, assisting you. And then I'm going to leave you all to enjoy the rest of your night. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Nice to meet you, Janelle.
Yeah, lovely to meet you, Tanya. Thank you.
Nice to meet you all.
Bye.